Well, a very good morning everyone, and thanks for clicking on the video. Today I'm in the beautiful village of Bybury, 6 miles northeast of Cirencester and right in the heart of the Cotswolds. Bybury has to be one of the most photographed villages in England and was described by the 19th century artist and craftsman William Morris as the most beautiful village in England. The village is probably most famous for Arlington Row, a much photographed picturesque row of cottages originally built in 1380 as a monastic wool store and was converted into weavers' cottages in the 17th century. This river is called the Colne and it's a tributary of the Thames and flows through the centre of the village. The Colne, along with the Bybury Spring, supplies Bybury Trout Farm, founded in 1902 by the naturalist Arthur Seddon, to stock the local rivers and streams with native brown trout. The hatchery spawns up to 6 million trout over every year. We're going to walk around Bybury. Along the way I'll point out all the main points of interest, including of course Arlington Row, and we'll pay a visit to the Church of St Mary, which is Lake Saxon. But just before we get going, I wanted to thank everyone who's just subscribed to my channel, Roaming the Cotswolds, and to ask that if you enjoy this video, please do like, and most importantly, subscribe. It really helps the channel to grow. It's completely free to subscribe, and it means that YouTube will always let you know when a new video is released. So again, please click that subscribe button, and if you'd like to leave a comment, as I love reading them and I promise to answer every one. We're starting our tour on the edge of Bybury, and one of the first buildings we will see is Arlington Mill, which dates back as far as the Domesday Book and is an important Grade II listed building. Now, the cloth that was produced by the weavers was sent to Arlington Mill to be washed and degreased. This was known as fulling. As well as working with wool, this building was also in the 17th and 18th centuries an important grain mill. Until the 1980s, the building also housed the Museum of Arlington Mill with a collection of period clothing before it was shifted to Barnsley House. The mill is now a private residence and you can actually stay as part of the mill, known as the Snug. This is Bybury Trout Farm, and it's one of the oldest working trout farms in the country. It's an absolutely fascinating place to visit, with a lovely cafe and a shop, some beautiful grounds, and you can feed the trout, and of course, you can take some home for your dinner. It's well worth a visit.
In the face, you always have the perfect way to say I love you, to say I'm here to say
just coming up to the Swan Hotel, which is a 4-star former coaching inn and a wonderful place to have lunch or maybe a cream tea. It's a perfect place to stay if you're planning a tour of the area, and it has some lovely gardens to escape the crowds if you need to. It's got a special place in my heart, as when my wife and I decided to get married many moons ago, we visited Bibury for the afternoon, and it was here at the Swan that we planned where we were going to go on our honeymoon and some of the wedding arrangements. You can get married here and have the reception, but it was a bit pricey for us back then. But happy days. Now this part of Bibury is known as the Wrack Isle, and it's an ancient water meadow right in the heart of the village. It's called Wrack Isle because it was here that the wool cloth was hung out to dry on wooden racks. The isle was given to the National Trust in 1956 and is now a rare habitat for water voles and a protected wildfowl breeding ground. So this is the most famous street in England, the Arlington Row, and probably the most photographed Cotswold scene. Originally built in 1380 as a monastic wool store, the buildings were converted into cottages for the weavers in the 17th century. The weavers worked in their cottages spinning the wool by hand to produce cloth, which was then taken to Arlington Mill for fulling. Today these pretty cottages are still lived in, and at least one of them is available to rent out for holidays. Though it has to be said, you might get a bit fed up of the amount of tourists who come here to take photos, especially over the summer months. So famous is Arlington Row that for many years you could find an illustration of the cottages in all UK passports. Plus they've appeared on a special set of Royal Mail stamps. It has been used as a film and television location, most notably for the 2007 film Stardust, starring Claire Danes, Sienna Miller, Michelle Pfeiffer and Robert De Niro. However, the claims that Bridget Jones's Diary was also filmed at Arlington Road now seem incorrect. A few years ago, Bibury made the national news when one of the residents used to park his bright yellow car right outside these cottages, much to the annoyance of the tourists who claimed it spoilt their view for taking photos. It even resulted in some people vandalising the car, and eventually the owner sold it and bought something less bright and annoying to tourists. Welcome to Bibury. village of Barby was once described by William Morris as the most beautiful village in England. Dating as far back as the Domesday Book of 1086, the village is steeped in history and is home to both historic buildings and British wildlife. This is the Church of St Mary, first established in the year 899 AD and subsequently replaced with an Anglo-Saxon church built in the late 11th century. St Mary's is one of the most historically important churches in the Cotswolds. As we will see when we go inside the church, there are wonderfully carved doorways, an unusual 13th century square font and medieval glass. The attractive timber roof dates to the 15th century. The north chancel wall of the church is home to a stained glass window, which was designed in 1927 by Carl Parsons and was featured in the 1992 Christmas stamp set issued by the Royal Mail.
come to the end of our visit to Bibury, so I hope you enjoyed it. Apologies for the wind noise and the traffic. The sun's come out and it's a very busy day. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe, like and share. It does mean a lot for the channel. I'll bring you another video from the Cotswolds very soon. And in the meantime, I'm going for a well-earned drink in the Swan Hotel. So cheers, and I will see you again for another video very soon. Thanks, Em. Bye-bye.